Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea, and today I want to talk about the lack of customer service, particularly with Black-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses. So I know you have seen on Twitter and Facebook groups, World Star Hip Hop, and all of those other Instagram pages where there have been different occurrences of a lack of customer service, and I really want to explore why that is and get to the heart of it so we can try to solve the problem. So my goal is not to criticize or judge, but to kind of shed some light so that people can kind of understand why there's a lack and begin to do their own self-work and participate in different personal development opportunities to fix that. So I do have notes here, and I just want to start off with the first question, which is why? Why is it like that? Because we can't say that it doesn't exist. We've seen enough complaints to know that it does exist. It may not be everyone, right? But it's enough. Or too many. So with that, the first reason that I think that we may lack customer service is because we get too comfortable around our own people. Oftentimes, for myself personally, when I go out to an establishment, and for example, I just had an Airbnb, and the woman did not have a microwave, even though I asked if she had one, which should have been a clue. But she did not have a microwave, so she invited me to the main part of the home to use it. And I don't have a profile picture on my Airbnb, on my profile. So when I came in, she was like, oh, okay, I was hoping I didn't have to get dressed, or I was hoping I didn't have to, put on indecent clothing or whatever. And I was like, why? Because I'm Black? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. But we see so much. You may have a similar story where you go somewhere and people are comfortable with you. So too comfortable sometimes. Like they are telling you business or things they should not be sharing. They're talking about topics that they should not be discussing. Or they're just a bit lax and they're expecting grace and familiarity with you. The problem with that is you still have a service to provide or a business to run. So you should never take the opportunity to kind of just be relaxed. I know that you're expecting grace, but the person who's coming in as a customer is expecting professionalism. They're expecting top quality and they're expecting a great experience. So we do have a habit of getting too comfortable in our language, in our topics that we talk about, and how we respond to things that we would not do if there were non-Black people around. And I want to point out that by doing that, that kind of puts whiteness on a pedestal unintentionally, because you will pull out the bells and whistles and perform your A1 best when they come in, but when other Black people come in, we don't get that same treatment. So I would definitely like to call that out and request that people stop doing that. Give A1 to everyone. The next thing, this is a really big one, and I had to really sit with it, but we confuse servitude with servant leadership. What I mean by that is, because of our complex history related to slavery and Jim Crow laws and just having opportunities to work and make your own money as a Black person, many of us think that working as an entrepreneur or a business owner is being a servant or has a servitude attitude. What I mean by servitude is that people are used to that context of someone being condescending to you, you having to do something, you having to grin and bear it, you having to do something because someone is paying you. It is that sense of control that they don't have, the sense of control that the customer may have over them, over people who experienced slavery and the Jim Crow era. Like they weren't able to, they could, be as polite and happy as they wanted to be. However, you often heard about people dealing with unfavorable conditions. So a lot of times I just listen to different entrepreneurs and business owners who just really make it a point to say that, like, I'm not bowing down and I'm not serving. And a lot of that comes from just, I believe, Black tax, like emotional tax of dealing with those previous experiences, but also a bit of pride as well that I'll get to later on. But they confuse servitude with servant leadership. And in servant leadership, it is humble. It is seeking to help. It is being of stand-up character or personality when you are leading. So with servant leadership kind of has this charisma to it where you are chivalrous and you are generous and you're resourceful and you're meeting needs. People confuse servitude with servant leadership, and we need more servant leadership. We need people who are going to be role models, who are going to always do the right thing, who are going to act with integrity, while also giving you a great experience, because they have great personalities. And a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners will tell you that they got into business for a bunch of different other reasons, but they just wanted to be themselves. They did not want to have to necessarily code switch. The problem is, though, you have to code switch for the sake of being understood across different audiences, because we're not all from the same regions, neighborhoods, and backgrounds, even if we all may be Black. So you don't ever want to make that assumption. So with that, being a servant leader is what we should lean more towards, and lean away from the attitude of it being servitude, because at the end of the day, the customer is just expecting professionalism. They're expecting a service. They expect things communicated a certain type of way, experienced a certain type of way, or delivered a certain type of way, and they expect things to be done timely. The next thing, which is a no-brainer, but we lack guidance. There are so many resources and opportunities, activities out there that we could participate in that we're not. And then there are so many other people who are just not helping other people. If you notice, if you look online, I guess because I follow a lot of entrepreneurs, I see this, but they want to charge $200 for a consultation conversation or coffee, or they want you to pay for a mentoring program, which is not mentoring. And it's like, what happened to just having pure guidance? Like, what's the buy-in? If you want me to pay for a consultation, which I'm not against, I am against some of the prices, but I'm not against you charging a consultation fee, right? But what's the buy-in? What have you shown me other than being successful that would make me want to come to you and seek help and guidance? Can I trust you with my vulnerabilities as a business owner? So I think that not only should we take advantage of the opportunities that are out there through your Small Business Administration, through your Black Chamber of Commerce that's local, you have your National Urban League groups, you have so many different free opportunities. There are large corporations who have sessions and workshops every month that business owners like you can get into, but a lot of times we're not there. And it's partially because of lack of knowledge and also a lack of outreach on their behalf. But if you want it, you have to figure it out and find it. And then on the other half, just guidance and mentorship within the community. A lot of people they don't have a buy-in, a money grab, an attention grabber. There is no product or service or process or things to say, here's this free game that I think you're really going to benefit from. And if you could benefit from this, you may want to learn more from me. A lot of people aren't doing that. They're just running the business and being successful, but they're not really great at establishing a network and partnering with people and bringing people up under them. So we definitely lack guidance, and that contributes to the lack of customer service. And then finally, self-awareness. Emotional intelligence is not like what you may have learned in school. If you have gone to school, and I mean like college, if you've gone to college and learned about emotional intelligence, it's really not taught in the way that it really should be. That's a really sour point for me, because I wish more people understood. But emotional intelligence has 4 tenets, and the first tenet is self-awareness. So how do people navigate their experience with me or my business? How do I make people feel? And it's just like, what impact am I leaving on people when they come and engage with me? So self-awareness, it really can take you a very long way. And in that is accountability. Accountability for, I can see how I messed up or how I contributed to this type of experience or this type of culture or this type of practice. And not really necessarily beating yourself up about that, but taking ownership of that, and then knowing that you also can control the outcome and change or provide a solution for it. I think just a lot of times people are so defensive because your business is your baby for a lot of people. So people become very defensive. They get very high strung in the conversation when there's feedback or criticism. And it's like, with the self-awareness, you will be able to understand that this person is telling me this because they care about me, because they care about my business and they want to come back. They want to see change, or they believe that I'm capable of changing and improving. So the self-awareness is a very big piece that I would like to explore, or that I will explore later on. So just to recap, we're talking about the lack of customer service. And if I haven't already, just defining what customer service is. And for me personally, how I define it is that Customer service is just an opportunity to meet the needs of your customer and do it in a professional and positive way. That's what I would define customer service as. And you would have to ask yourself, again, self-awareness. Am I delivering my product or service in a professional and positive way? What is the experience that people are having with me, right? So that's how I would define customer service. And I want to get into customer experience as well, because oftentimes we don't even consider the fact that people are having they're building a perception or building that review in their head as soon as they cross the threshold of your business. So, do people speak to me when I first came in? Are the business hours what they're supposed to be? Is the lighting right? Is the music okay? Is it appropriate? Is there someone coming to assist me or ask me what I need or what I have stopped in for? Or whatever the case may be. Are they trying to build rapport with me? Even the whole ecology of your business, if you have a storefront, if you are doing a pop-up shop, what people see, smell, and hear and feel impacts customer experience. And I think that's lost on a lot of people. And then finally, just that customer support. So assuming that every customer does have a problem, and if you have not solved it yet, you are not meeting that customer's need. And then just the legitimate problems like, hey, I thought that this was this price and it's something different. Or, hey, I called or sent the email about this and I never got a response. Even just conflict resolution, like how are you doing that? So that encompasses this whole conversation of customer service, of all the things I just said. So to recap, we get too comfortable sometimes. I think that a lot of us, when we see another Black face, we think that all skin folk is kinfolk, and that's not always the case. But also we forget that these are customers. These are not our friends. Next, people confuse servitude with servant leadership. So with servitude, people kind of feel undervalued. There's this air of condescension. There is this air of being second class and having to deal with someone just because they're a customer. And that's often not the case that the customer is taking with you. And in turn, we should practice or lean into servant leadership that has that charisma, who has that desire to serve and help, who has that desire to kind of give an experience around the product or service that they're providing. And then next, as I said, we lack guidance. So we're not reaching out and getting mentors outside of our community. We're not participating in business development opportunities through different organizations, some that cater to Black people and some that cater to everyone. And there are people in our community who we see being successful, but they're not reaching back, or they're not reaching back in an appropriate way to help build each other up, or build different people up, or pull people up, whatever. And then finally, self-awareness. Are we looking in the mirror and asking ourselves, how do people experience my business? How do people experience checkout with me? What is my responsibility? What can I fix? What can I change? Is what the person telling me true? If so, how am I responding to that? You know, understanding that people want you to win. They want you to do better. And that's often why they bring you the criticism. They bring you the feedback. And what you decide to do with that really speaks to your level of self-awareness. Can you really own and be honest about where you lack and where you need to improve? So with that in mind, please comment down below and tell me what you think are the reasons why many minority-owned or Black-owned businesses have a lack of customer service. And thank you so much for listening.